All right, let's transition to something a little more serious now. There was a very interesting article written in Vanity Fair by former guest on the show. He was on with us last month, Brian Stelter. Brian Stelter wrote an article for Vanity Fair a couple days ago called "Where is the Party Heading? Inside the Populist Awakening of Bernie, Warren, and AOC." Now, I encourage you to read the article. This segment is not about the article, but the segment is about the question: what is the future of the progressive left in the United States? So I want to talk through what it appeared like maybe it was going to be, which I think has actually changed dramatically. There was a point in time 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago where it seemed as though the future of the progressive left in the United States was going to go through people like Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Now, it is absolutely the case that those three have been central to the progressive movement in recent years. But there is growing sentiment that it actually may have a very different future, the progressive movement of the United States. What are the issues? First of all, we should say, what about Bernie, Warren, and AOC? Well, Warren, the progressive left has increasingly abandoned as not actually being progressive. There are many in the progressive left who have said, hey, you know what? She's not actually a progressive. She's a corporate Dem or whatever the case may be. The fact is that Elizabeth Warren, by voting record, is one of the most progressive members of the U.S. Senate. I think second only to Bernie, if I recall correctly. She, with her wealth tax proposal, that is a policy that is well to the left of most other Democratic senators currently. So I think there is a very good factual case for Warren being one of the more progressive members of the Senate. But she is perceived by many on the progressive left as not actually being progressive enough. Bernie Sanders has increasingly taken heat from the progressive left for a number of different reasons. His support of Biden has led to many on the progressive left saying Bernie sold out. As I've said before, he sold out. He's in his 80s. He's financially independent. He can retire anytime. Why on earth would now be the time to sell out? The way I see it, Bernie has just called it the way he sees it for 40 years. But there are some who believe Bernie has sold out by endorsing Joe Biden. There are some who are upset with Bernie recently with regards to Israel-Gaza, with Bernie saying, how do you do a ceasefire with Hamas when Hamas openly says we are going to keep trying to do these sorts of terrorist attacks? So some on the progressive left are angry with Bernie there as well. And then generationally, it's hard to imagine that a guy in his 80s and a woman in her 70s are the next generation of progressive leaders. That's not ageism. It's just mathematics. They're the same age essentially as Joe Biden. So how are they the next generation? Okay. What about AOC? AOC also has suffered a bit from the she sold out sort of thing. AOC over the last 18-ish to 24 months has become significantly more pragmatic and realistic about the way politics works in the United States. This comes to AOC losing some of the enthusiasm for some of these symbolic votes that some on the progressive left like and push for. And there are some who say, oh, AOC has sold out. AOC on some votes where she has voted present rather than voting one way or the other has garnered claims from some on the progressive left that she is now part of the establishment or whatever. And to be perfectly frank, AOC's likability or approval rating has also suffered significantly. She's getting significantly less media attention. So again, it's tough to believe that AOC is the future of the progressive movement when she also has become quite polarizing, only modestly effective in her role in the House of Representatives, and has received ire from people both on the progressive left disaffected with her and those who believe that she's too much part of the woke wing and not the future of the party. Okay, so if not Bernie, Warren, and AOC, three individuals where several years ago it seemed that is the direction that the progressive left was going, what is the future of the progressive left? Well, I don't really know. But the names that you find when you look at op-eds from people who are in this business, and I'm going to say a bunch of names, not necessarily because these are the people I want representing the progressive left, but because these are the names that are coming up most frequently. And I know that many in the audience will say, David, how can they represent the progressive left? They're not even progressive. Okay, the list that is often being floated, this is the list. Gavin Newsom, governor of California, which will make many in the audience absolutely cringe. Some who believe that he's just a loser. Others who believe he's not actually progressive. Others who believe he has, quote, ruined California. But Gavin Newsom is a name that is mentioned. Jamie Raskin, who's been on this program, is a name that is mentioned. Counterpoint to Jamie Raskin is he really part of the next generation? Well, yeah, compared to 80-year-olds, he is. Is he progressive enough? I think if you look into the track record of Jamie Raskin, which we looked at deeply before he appeared on the show, you find a true progressive community organizer who is also skilled at politics. Jamie Raskin is a name that's mentioned. But is he really going to be the leader of the progressive movement? I don't know. Some are talking about Richie Torres from New York, member of Congress. Many in the audience will say he is not nearly anti-Israeli enough, so he can't be the leader of the progressive movement. Stacey Abrams from Georgia is a name that often comes up. The counterpoint with Stacey Abrams from many is, when you've lost this many times, it's hard to become the leader of a movement. John Ossoff, young Democratic senator from Georgia, mentioned also by many. And there are other emerging and influential voices. This is not the entire list. But what I want to bring to you today is there has clearly been a shift. We've seen the perceived future and the changing priorities of the Democratic electorate, in my view, no longer point to Bernie, Warren, AOC. Who do you believe is the future of the progressive movement? And my priority is, I don't have to agree with them on everything, but they need to strike the right tone when it comes to dealing with a Republican Party that has been decimated by ignorance, obstructionists, people you can't work with, people you need to get around rather than work with to get anything done. Who do you see as the future of the progressive movement? And if you look at it and you see Bernie, Warren, and or AOC, by all means, I want to hear from you. Let me know.